Chapter 1. Mims. Miller's Island, North Carolina isn't such a bad place. After all, it is on the coast and the beach isn't crowded. A small aquarium sits on the south end of the island. A maritime forest on the north. Cooper's Pier is dead center. It's a greasy spoon with the best fried egg sandwiches I've ever eaten. Miller's Island Middle School isn't so bad either. I mean, aside from our mascot, the jellyfish. Really? With all the sea life around here, they couldn't have picked a better mascot? How about the killer whales or the electric eagles? Seriously, though, I do love the school building. And I mean love. Miller's Island Middle School, or MIMS as we call it, opened 92 years ago as a boarding school. Let that sink in. 92. The main building is an H-shaped 2-story brick building. Nothing special on the outside, but inside's a whole different story. Every hallway, every room, every office has beautiful, darkly stained 92-year-old hardwood floors. I love the way the floorboards groan and creak when I walk across them. I love that my footsteps combine with those of thousands of other students who have walked these halls, and together, we have fine-tuned each creaky echo. This realization brings a small sense of belonging as I struggle to fit in at this new-to-me school. Aside from classrooms and offices, the trusty hardwoods lead to a multitude of long-forgotten rooms, closets, and cubbies. Since I'm new to MIMS, it's easy for me to claim confusion when I'm discovered in a corridor no longer used by the school. I've been given numerous warnings about safety issues whenever I've been caught straying. Each mini lecture, like the current one, cycles back to the hardwoods. "These floors used to be cleaned with kerosene and sawdust," says Mr. Jackson, the maintenance man and mayor. Yeah, that's right. Our maintenance man is also the mayor of Miller's Island. Mr. Jackson's just caught me for the third time this week on one of my explorations, and it's only Tuesday. "We want everyone to go home at the end of the day. That's why we take our fire drills so seriously," says Mr. Jackson, scratching a patch of silver whiskers on the bottom of his chin. He holds up the stopwatch that perpetually hangs from around his neck. 2 minutes and 20 seconds was your best time. We want to shave seconds off that time, Missy. We can't do that if we have to hunt down wandering students." He pauses, waiting for my reaction. "Yes, sir," I say tentatively, not sure how to respond to a non-question. "These floors," he says, tapping his right foot, "have decades of kerosene soaked into them. If we ever have a real fire, heaven forbid, do you know how quickly these boards will burn?" "No, sir," I say. "Faster than a snake across a frozen pond." "A what? Across a what?" I'm distracted, wondering why a snake would be out in the wintertime, much less slithering across a frozen pond. My thoughts are interrupted by the walkie-talkie clipped to Mr. Jackson's belt. "Jackson, you there? Jackson?" asks a squawking voice. "Right here, Miss Babbitt," says Mr. Jackson. "The beagle's back," says Miss Babbitt. "That one from Wheeler's farm. The dog must have come in during lunch. He was last spotted running toward Ms. Fisher's room." "Stubborn mutt," says Mr. Jackson. "Comes inside at least once a week." He pushes the button on the walkie-talkie and says, "On my way, Miss Babbitt." Mr. Jackson heads toward the 6th grade wing, then seems to remember that I'm out of bounds. Turning back, he says, "Well, come on then. Let's get to class, Missy." I follow him out of the dimly lit corridor, all the while planning my next exploration. When we reach the main hallway, Mr. Jackson turns left and I go right. On my way back to the 8th grade wing, an orange and yellow poster catches my eye. MIMS Fall Festival. Rides, movies, food, and 8th grade lock-in. Mr. Jackson's footsteps sound in the distance, and I move to take a closer look at the poster. The festival is on October 31st. A hayride, pizza party, and a movie in the media center. Lots of things designed to keep kids busy when they've outgrown trick-or-treating. I'm not even remotely interested in going to the fall festival until I read the last line. Students must bring their own sleeping bags and pillows to use in the dormitories. 8th graders only. It hits me. Lock-in equals overnight slumber party. And we'll be staying upstairs in the never-used dorms. I wonder what I might find in Mims, given the whole night to explore. On second thought, maybe I will go. I smile, already scheming that while everyone else watches the movie, I'll be checking out every square inch of Mims, safety issues or not. I can't explain it, but I feel an unusual connection to this old building, this old dinosaur. It seems as out of place as I am. It's for this reason I feel we belong to each other. I make a mental note to snag a permission slip for the festival and head toward the lockers, amazed again by the total lack of locks. Mims is a small town, filled with kids who've grown up together. Stealing would be tantamount to taking something from your own family. It took me several days to convince my parents I didn't need a lock for my locker here. The bell rings and I sprint to science class. Science used to be my favorite subject. Today, I guess it still is. There's no denying it. I'm a total and unashamed nerd. I have several stickers plastered on my laptop and a closet full of t-shirts that proclaim as much. Like the green t-shirt I'm wearing now. Girls in Science, written in blocky letters across the front. But science at Mims is different to science at my old school in Columbia, South Carolina. For the millionth time, I think I'd give just about anything to be back in Columbia with my best friend, Aubrey Wilson. Someone I'd known all my life. Aubrey and I had just finished our second year of middle school. Like all rising 8th graders, we felt we'd done our time, and we were now entitled to run the school. Aubrey's mother worked in the guidance office, so we were assured a third year of identical class schedules. Aubrey and I had spent our first day of summer vacation talking about how 8th grade was going to be our best year ever. We talked about our new teachers, dissecting every conversation we'd ever heard about each one, trying to determine who was the fun one, the crazy one, the mean one. After we sorted that out, our talk turned to boys. Aubrey was sad that Logan Foster, the boy she liked, had moved on to high school. So I guess I missed my chance, said Aubrey. I know it sounds catty, but I doubt Aubrey has or will ever miss a chance with any boy. Even at 9 o'clock after an all-night slumber party, Aubrey looks like she just left a magazine photo shoot. Of course, that makes us total opposites. Aubrey has curly, black hair, dark eyes, and olive-toned skin. I have what my mother calls dirty blonde hair, a fair complexion, and light green eyes. Don't worry about it, I said in true best friend form. You'll see Logan next year when we get to high school. That perked Aubrey up a bit. For the next few minutes, she called out the names of some of the boys in our grade, and we considered each as possible dates to the big 8th grade dance. Feeling bold, I finally admitted to my crush on Mason Sanders. Well, duh, said Aubrey, giggling. I already knew that. It's a little obvious, the way you get that big grin on your face whenever he's around. I swallowed hard. Think anyone else notices? Anyone like Mason? She teased. Then, sensing my distress, Aubrey quickly added, Oh, no way. Boys are so clueless. She grinned wickedly. But we can fix that. Thus began a week-long conversation on the least awkward way for me to let Mason know how I felt. A couple more months of this, and I might have actually had the courage to approach him. In the end, we decided it would be best if the big reveal took place over the summer, away from school where everyone knows or wants to know everyone else's business. I've got it, said Aubrey on a lazy afternoon. I'll invite Mason to my birthday party and you can talk to him then. I mean, you just have to. Why? I asked. Because this is our last grace period year, said Aubrey. Explain? She sighed. When we get to high school, we won't have that fallback. You know, the whole she's a middle schooler, so cut her some slack thing. That's one of the things I loved about Aubrey. Her logic was simple, but at times brilliant. Buoyed by her grace period theory, I felt my confidence grow. I decided I'd tell Mason exactly how I felt about him at Aubrey's birthday party. No question. Looking back, I wonder how Aubrey and I could have been so blissfully unaware of the train that was barreling down on us. "I've been transferred," said Dad, matter-of-factly one night at dinner. "What do you mean transferred?" I asked. I had somehow been oblivious to the tension that had been building in the air at home over the past few days. At that moment, my parents' hushed conversations, late-night phone calls, and strange spring cleaning-type behavior crystallized into impending doom for me. Mom looked at me, her blue eyes swimming in tears. "Your dad's job is being moved to North Carolina, sweetie, so we have to move too." I don't remember the rest of the conversation. It's not something I like to dwell on. The day I found out I had to leave the only friends I'd ever known, leave the only town I'd ever lived in, and leave my best friend in the world is not a day I like to relive. Things went from bad to worse when I told Aubrey I was moving away. I don't know who cried more. Well, I guess I do know. I did. After all, Aubrey didn't have to move away. And now she seems to have adapted to my absence. The last text from Aubrey was a week old and oddly formal. "Hope things are good." That didn't sound like something one best friend would say to another. It was as if Aubrey had no idea what to say to me and was texting only out of some sense of obligation. I wondered if she did in fact hope things were good, but I haven't responded. As for Mason Sanders, I never got the chance to tell him how I felt? We moved away a few weeks before Aubrey's birthday. Since Mason never found out, it's been mostly easy to put him behind me, along with all of my other ties to Columbia. What does it matter anyway? I'll probably never see Mason again. I'm thinking about all of this, my footsteps doing their part, shaping the creaks in the floor as I enter the science classroom. I actually like my teacher, Ms. Phillips. It isn't her fault science class is sometimes dull. MIMS is a poor school with little money for science experiments or anything else. I know Ms. Phillips does the best she can with what she has. No money and ancient, and I mean almost as old as the building ancient, science books. I walk into the too small classroom, thankful for the floor-to-ceiling windows that keep the room from feeling completely claustrophobic. Ms. Phillips is wrestling with something inside a narrow opening in the wall, a small closet hidden by a pair of lace-covered curtains. A matching pair of curtains conceals the other opening on the other end of the same sea green wall. Mom had explained there is a narrow hallway between the two openings that had once been used as a coat room for storing students' jackets during the chilly winters. Dad joked it was also used to sneak kisses, taking the opportunity then to steal one from Mom. Yeesh. When the late bell rings, the radiator heaters begin knocking loudly, a noise that will compete with Ms. Phillips for the remainder of the class period. She emerges from the coat room/storage room, triumphantly pushing a silver cart that holds 24 laptops and a few power strips. This technology was purchased with money from some teaching award Ms. Phillips had won last year. The newness of the laptops seems out of place when she parks the cart in front of the 92-year-old chalkboard. My eyes travel up to a neatly printed message on the board, and I inwardly groan. Science project sign-up. How could I have forgotten? Every quarter in every class, MIMS students work together on group projects of their own choosing. Topics are wide open, as long as they involve solving a real-world problem. I'd done similar projects at my school in Columbia. My issue here at MIMS is the group part. I stare down at the beautiful hardwood floors and wait for the axe to fall. "Okay, class," says Ms. Phillips. "It's time for you to choose your group for the first quarter projects. This assignment carries a lot of weight when calculating your final grade, so choose wisely." Don't just pick your current BFFs. I'll give you a few minutes to decide on groups, then you need to get started on picking a topic. Ms. Phillips looks at the 21 faces in the room, ending with mine. Several girls snicker. No way, says one of the girls under her breath. I know who she is, but not because she's ever talked to me personally. I know her name because of the hundreds of times she's talked about me. It's Chloe Mitchell, and she's the most popular girl at MIMS. She's also a snarky, rude girl and one I've learned to avoid. I've overheard Chloe's comments about me several times, which I gathered was her intent, judging by how loudly she'd talked. Chloe cast a glance in my direction. I'm not working with IntelliGrace, she says. That's the nickname Chloe gave me when I made the mistake of answering a question correctly right after she had gotten it wrong during a class discussion. If Chloe knew me at all, she'd know I enjoy having a reputation for being smart. I take her nickname as a compliment. But Chloe hasn't made the slightest effort to get to know me, nor have any of the other girls, probably following her lead. I sigh, wondering which of these poor souls will be stuck with me. It's not long before everyone is out of their seats, sidling up to their partners. I feel like last night's leftovers, as students all around me pair up, excited to begin their project. Ms. Phillips seems to connect the dots, realizing I'm sitting by myself. Scratch that, she says. Everyone go back to your seats. Students look at her curiously, but slink back to their lab tables, some groaning and muttering under their breath. I'm going to count you off into groups, says Ms. Phillips, pointing one at a time to each of us. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. She repeats this until all of the students have been assigned a number. Now, find your group. Kids go to different parts of the classroom, calling out their number as they form their new groups. 2 girls squeal when they realize they are in the same group they had originally formed. There are 5 people left, then 3, then 1. He's a tall boy, deeply tanned with wavy brown hair. I try to remember his name as I cross the room to where he's standing, calling out, 4s. I guess we're partners, I say. I'm Grace Brooks. I know who you are, he says, rolling his eyes. I immediately dislike this boy. Well, I don't know your name, so if you could tell me, that'd be great, I say sarcastically. I'm Jack, he says, matching my sarcasm. Jack-o'-lantern. Terrific. Boone, Grace, I can't wait to see what you come up with, says Miss Phillips brightly. You're both so good in science. She points to a corner opposite us and my eyes follow. I think your other group member is over there. Oh no. Chloe glares at us, exuding attitude from across the room. This should be real fun, I lie. Come on, Jack. Ugh, says Chloe when we reach her lab table. Look, geeks, I'm doing my project by myself. Nerd, I say. What? She asks, stunned. Geeks are more into useless or random facts about one specific thing. Nerds focus more on, whatever, just both of you just stay out of my way. Chloe huffs off, joining the 2 squealing girls at another pod. Well, Jack, should we get started? I ask. Or is it Boone? Sorry, says Jack, a look of contrition on his face. I thought you were like Chloe and the other bubble-headed girls in this class. All they care about is lip gloss and cell phones. Thank you? I ask. It's just that I get tired of carrying other kids in these projects. How was I supposed to know you're good in science or even like it? I smirk and point at my t-shirt. Jack laughs, and so do I. That's okay, Jack-o'-lantern. And that's how Jack and I became partners, and how I learned that being a leftover isn't always a bad